Okay, so I don't know how many times we've done this, but it's been a bunch. I'm I'm gonna guess a bunch. I'll leave that. Hey, Tim Priddy here.
This is Carmen.
Hey, a few months back, Pastor Jonathan asked me to share a brief reflection of my experience with small group ministry during morning worship. Hopefully, some others with small group experience will do likewise in the future. I've been thinking for the last couple of weeks at how we currently worship, and I thought about doing a little video. Since it wasn't just my experience, but mine and Carmen's, and she's much more thoughtful and smarter than me, I would ask her to join me in our first video. Won't our kids and grandkids be impressed?
Not.
Well, the way our small group experience started was much the same way it started now, with Jonathan's incubator group. Back in 2001, our minister, Loretta Isaiah, asked me to participate in a summer book study of a book entitled Waking to God's Dream. I had just been selected by St. Andrew Administrative Board to serve as board chairperson, so I think Loretta really wanted me to be part of the study. After we finished the study, nothing really happened. I guess it just wasn't God's time for small group ministry to be revealed at St. Andrew. Well, the logic in my engineer brain regarding small groups and my United Methodist roots and my pastors and God's call to me at the same time to be in church leadership at St. Andrew all encouraged me to start a small group myself. Religious leaders and pastors generally agree that God plants the vision for new ministries within a church in the hearts of its people. So they cannot see the vision until God chooses to reveal it. If you've been listening to Pastor Jonathan over the past few months, it's become apparent to me, and I hope to you, that at St. Andrew, God has planted a vision for small group ministry in the hearts of a few, and God has chosen Pastor Jonathan to reveal it to the congregation.
To begin our story, I made a list of folks, some of whom we knew, some not, but all who were of a similar age and stage in our lives. To our amazement, all agreed to give it a try. We initially met at our house, and each of us made a signed commitment, as was suggested, to meet for 6 weeks. 12 years later, it died a natural death, in part due to 2 of the members becoming part of the cloud of witnesses at St. Andrew. By the way, part of the commitment we made was for 1 or 2 of us to break away and birth a new group. Well, we didn't. Our group became very close during our 12 years together, and no one wanted to break away to birth another group. Our biggest mistake was not deciding at the very beginning who would be in training to become a new group leader to another small group. Small group ministry is not about committing to lifelong relationships, although it can be. It's about committing to care for and getting to know one another, and to make a choice to try to be more fully devoted followers of Jesus. It's about walking in other people's shoes for a year or so and allowing them to walk in yours. You can't begin to understand people unless you know their personal story. Sharing ourselves with others can be uncomfortable, and inviting people into your home, especially folks you don't really know, can really be uncomfortable. But isn't God calling us to get out of our comfort zone? It doesn't take a large space for 8 to 10 people to meet. And if someone, for any reason, doesn't feel they want the group to meet in their home, another group member can pick up the meeting or choose an alternate location for that week. For us, meeting at home made the gathering something that wasn't just another committee meeting. Our weekly meetings usually begin with fellowship and food. Although we committed early on to just having snacks, it did on occasion go beyond that.
Oh yeah.
After eating, we went to prayer. We went through the prayer list and our own concerns and lifted both in prayer. After that, we began our book study, which usually lasted longer than it should have, so it took what seemed forever to get through a book. Our weekly meetings never had a worship component. We did have a mission outreach component where we raised enough funds doing 2 to 3 Wonderful Wednesday dinners a year to buy wagons and rolling shelves to use for the Christmas basket mission. The last 3 years that we met, we expanded the snack bag ministry that the missions team was doing. Today, those efforts have been doubled again, and the snack bag industry is a church-wide mission project. We met weekly, September through May, and always ended the season with a picnic, usually at Bruce and Ruth Frame's home. Our small group also held an annual long weekend retreat at North Bend State Park. Not necessarily a spiritual retreat per se, but a getaway in a woodsy setting with good friends, good food, games, and a responsible supply of our favorite beverages.
As I shared in a devotion with church council in April, the pragmatist in me tells me that for small group ministry to be successful at St. Andrew, there will have to be value given and value received. As I reflect back on our dozen years in small group, where we met weekly in each other's houses, always sharing the leadership responsibility, the fact that all those members in our group seldom, if ever, missed a Sunday evening meeting attests to the value of small group ministry. These small group meetings, they weren't like committee meetings, which are usually focused on the business of the church. These small group meetings were a time when we grew our relationship with each other, as well as helping us to become more devoted followers of Jesus. Our incubator group is trying to discern what the meeting format will look like in this setting. We've looked at a lot of different ones, and we're just starting to read what Pastor Dick Wills, the pastor of Christ Church United Methodist in Fort Lauderdale, describes in his book. As Pastor Jonathan often says, who we are is more important than what we do. Participation in small group ministry will help us as a church grow in our faith, and at the same time help us figure out not only who we are, but whose we are. If you have any interest or are curious about small group ministry at St. Andrew, we invite you to contact Pastor Jonathan for more information. Thanks for listening. Hope to see you soon.